Wonder Woman is the Ghost Rider of the DC Universe. I know, bold thing to say, but I'm gonna tell you guys all about why I think this is that after reading Absolute Wonder Woman #2. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Let's get right into it.
You're now watching The Captain.
So Absolute Wonder Woman #2 is a book that I honestly did not think I would love as much. I really enjoyed the first book a lot, but this book did a lot more with her backstory and her connection to Steve Trevor than I initially thought we would get out of a story like this. Absolute comics in general have been marketed as being, a lot more grittier and a lot darker than what you're traditionally used to in regards to Marvel Comics. So seeing that there is a significant amount of development in regards to Wonder Woman's romantic relationship with Steve Trevor and how well Kelly Thompson did with it, I was, really surprised and welcomed the surprise of that matter. The book really picks up where everything else left off though, in regards to Wonder Woman's fight with the Harbinger. This fight got really interesting, as you can remember from the first video, where she busts out a lot of different new tricks that we're not used to seeing from Wonder Woman in particular in regards to the magical aspects of her kit that she now has. She utilized some magical spells that she used and also utilized the Demon Pegasus that she now flies on, that we learned in this book is not just a regular skeletal Pegasus, but is the Pegasus that is known throughout Greek mythology, but that died and was brought back to life through magic. So this book really does a lot of detail in letting you know about some things about Greek mythology that if you didn't know about, you're gonna know here. And it does a lot into it. And it makes sense that they would dive really deeply into the Greek mythology of this world, just due to the fact that Wonder Woman's heritage and her backstory throughout comics is derived around Greek mythology. But all that aside, the fight itself was amazing. I saw something, and this really is what made me kind of look at her as a Ghost Rider type of character upon reading it, in regards to the newest weapon that she broke out that I assumed was a twisted version of the lasso of truth that we're accustomed to seeing from the woman. This in particular, though, is a weapon by the name of Nemesis. It is a weapon that has the name of the god Nemesis from mythology, but it's also blessed by the goddess of fertility in Greek mythology. And it also is infused with power of Prometheus, the person known from stealing fire from the gods in Greek mythology. So lo and behold, easy to say that this lasso type weapon or whip or whatever it's called is really strong. But that's not even the best part about it. Getting into its functionality in regards to what it does ability wise is a lot more interesting. In this fight, or near the end of the fight, because this pretty much ended the fight with the Harbinger, Wonder Woman lets the Harbinger know, after wrapping him around with Nemesis, that Nemesis will essentially burn you to the degree of all the sins and evil committed against people throughout your entire life. So for people that aren't aware, this is a really big reason why I referenced Ghost Rider, for the factor of Ghost Rider as a character has this ability in Marvel Comics called the Penance Stare, where he essentially looks into your soul and makes you feel the pain that you've caused other people throughout your entire life. So if you're somebody extremely evil or a murderer for that point, you're going to have a lot of trouble dealing with this thing. It's been depicted in different ways. If you watch the Nicolas Cage movies, it pretty much vegetizes you essentially. But in this particular moment with the Nemesis and the way it works, it burns you to that extent. So in the Harbinger fight, we see that Nemesis is legit burning the Harbinger so much to the point to where the Harbinger just says uncle and quits. The Harbinger pretty much accepts Diana's offer and says uncle and runs away. This is really important from the factor of, I want you guys to understand just how strong this thing has to be to not only take on and combat the Harbinger and all the demons that were surrounding it, but to make it quit of its own accord. It hurt that much. And it's something I really want to focus on and see the ways that they utilize it going forward within the Absolute universe. Because a weapon like this can be used creatively in a lot of different writing ways, especially in regards to somebody like a Batman who may or may not be a lot more violent in this world. So I wonder if that work on him, even if he was doing things in the realm of trying to be a vigilante for the sake of justice, or maybe with Superman, because the Superman may not be as holier than thou as traditional Superman we're used to seeing. But yeah, all in all, the weapons and the kit that Wonder Woman has is continue to be what I'm really impressed by. She has some dope stuff, and you're allowing her to mix and match up the type of attacks and things she's able to utilize now that she's an expert in magic, and she is the Princess of the Wild Isle. Moving forward though in the story, there is something else about the way Kelly Thompson is writing Diana that I really enjoy, is the aspect of her not really taking shit. She's very prideful, like we would expect from a Wonder Woman character, but in a very respectful manner. She's not super arrogant at the moment of time because she's interacting with a general or some form of high-ranking military officer, and it's kind of like letting him know, like, you need me more than I need you. You're not going to control me and believe that I'm your weapon to be used at a whim or a beck and call. I am here to help you and save humanity. And she also let us slip that there are other heroes that will come assist as well. So I'm not sure if she's alluding directly to Batman and Superman. We do know that there is a Green Lantern and a Flash absolute version on the way at some point soon. So I'm really excited to see what this version of the Justice League looks like going forward in this world. But that all being said, this version of Diana and her doing these things isn't something that, like I said before, is very uncommon in her character. She's historically very prideful and very much so not going to take anybody's shit, but it's done in a very, I don't know how to say, like, graceful way, to where it doesn't seem like she's ahead of herself or like out of her own league or just doing things because she is strong. It's very calculated and very intellectual, and she's done a lot of her research and has a lot of experience, from her own words, dealing with men like the high-ranking officer. This to me is what I want my Wonder Woman to be like. So I want to personally sit here, give Kelly Thompson her flowers and really let her know that she's done an amazing job with this Wonder Woman. And going forward, for me, this is my Wonder Woman. I'll be rating all Wonder Woman going forward off of what she's been able to do with this run so far with just 2 issues. And I'm really excited to see what she does with this character going forward. Now, besides all the violence that she's had to deal with from fighting the Harbinger or even verbally fighting the high-ranking officer, the general, whatever he was, there's a moment that she shares with Steve Trevor, and even before this point, we get a little bit of a backstory in regards to showcasing that Steve had been to the Wild Isle and met Diana before the human world interaction they're having now. For whatever reason, Steve washed up on the shores of the Wild Isle. And for people that again didn't watch the first video or aren't aware where the Wild Isle is, it's essentially hell in this version of the universe. And him being there usually would mean that, he's dead and he's been sent to hell. But Cersei and Diana were very adamant after Diana found him and brought him to Cersei to get some healing, get some help, that he was not dead. Somehow he was able to get there and not be dead. So I don't know what that is. Maybe he's like in recovery from an injury, or he's half dead. I don't know what it is, but we'll probably get more information about that in issue 3. But that's something that I found very interesting in regards to him getting there. But regardless of that, he was there and he was able to have a little bit of an interaction with Diana that really caught my eye, and I spoke about earlier. Obviously, him being the first man she's ever seen, she's extremely curious about him and what makes him tick, and a lot about the outside world as well. So she's sitting down with him after him being healed, and they're having these moments where they're going back and forth and discussing the nature of man and woman to an extent, and people. And he's kind of letting her know about the different things that differ from what she may know being in the Wild Isle her entire life and the outside world. For instance, him not being threatened about her being a tall woman, because that's something he talks about. Most women in the human world aren't going to be 7'5" like Diana was. And I know that's an exaggeration, but she is a tall, beefy woman. Shout out to my woman shaped like Rhea Ripley out there. We love y'all. All that being said, she just is really infatuated with him, essentially. They kind of like play on a little bit of the romance aspects in his short time there, or the short time we get to see with them while he's there. All that aside, she's very interested in him and she's very smitten with him. She's looking at him in certain ways and blushing at him in certain instances. And it's something that I find very interesting from the aspect of seeing more of this relationship develop over time. I do know that there are some people, and I would agree to a certain extent, that have issue with all superheroes having to have some form of romantic interest. But with characters like Diana, I think it's very interesting from the factor of she is in a world, in most cases, that have no men anywhere near her. She doesn't grow up seeing the perspective of a man or communicating with men. She's only knowing about men from what secondhand stories she hears from her mother or other women warriors that may have ran into a man in their time being in Amazon. So when she sees a man, that difference in how they communicate and how we just operate in general is always something I find very interesting. And it feels natural for it to devolve into a love story. And, maybe it doesn't have to always be a love story, but I feel like there always needs to be a focus when it comes to Wonder Woman, especially in her introduction, into where she is understanding what a different being essentially is. Like, this is men being the exact counterpart to women, but you never communicating or encountering one. It's something that needs to be explored. And I think Kelly Thompson is doing that exceptionally well thus far in the run. And all in all, I'm really excited to see what happens with this story going forward. At the end of the book, we're introduced to a monster by the name of the Tetracide. I absolutely love how the artwork accentuates this level of scale of this kaiju. It's like into the clouds and it's just so massively massive. I'm really excited to see how Diana deals with this, or if this is going to be a moment to where maybe, you know, we see a little bit of Superman coming in to help out. I would, you know, I'll feel some type of way if we joined them up too soon. I don't want issue 3 of Wonder Woman to have outside help, but it's going to be very interesting how she herself deals with a monster this large. I don't even think the Nemesis can really even wrap around a creature this big, or even if it has an effect. On the Marvel side of things, you notice that things that aren't sentient have a little bit of an issue with the penance stare, for the factor of the penance stare really only works if you are a sentient being that makes decisions to be evil. If you're a force of nature, like a massive kaiju, it doesn't really have much effect. So I'm curious to see if that transfers over into Diana's world in DC with Absolute Wonder Woman, if the Nemesis only affects things that make definitive choices to be evil. If you're a force of nature, it may not work, and that may make the fight that much more difficult by Diana. But all that aside, you guys let me know in the comment section below, what did you think of Absolute Wonder Woman #2? Are you curious as to the origins of Nemesis or anything else to do with her? Let me know in the comment section below. Again, I'm excited to read more of this. And again, if you made it this far, please like the video. This really helps me get the video out to a bigger platform and more people, and all in all, just grow my platform in general. So if you want to support me in a very much so a free way and get more content like this, or even better content in the future, because I'm always looking to bring you guys better content, please like, subscribe, and, you know, just holler at your boy. If in the description below, I have links to my Discord, my Facebook, Instagram, all that other good stuff. You can find it in the description below, hyperlink there. So, you know, if you like your boy, check in with me, and we're gonna have more content on the way. Again, this has been Captain Diesel of Captain Diesel's Dojo, and this has been me talking about Absolute Wonder Woman #2. I will see you guys next time. Peace.